we burnt up a server. Okay, and trust me, the local vendors work faster than all these branded companies who say, the turnaround time is 4 hours or something. 4 hours is just for the engineer to visit you, not replace the thing. Replacement will happen at its own sweet time. So this vendor that we have, the local vendor, that guy literally at night, I think it was 11 o'clock or so at night, arranged the motherboard, arranged the RAM, arranged the processor for replacement. And literally in about 2 hours or so. So we had a replacement in 2 hours, which really brought our downtime to the minimum. I think that was the only major downtime that we've had. The next thing what we did was, instead of buying all the computers, a lot of people would argue, depreciation and everything. But again, you're starting up, you don't know what the future of the business is. It may be a success, it may be a failure, it may be a mediocre thing. You may or may not make even whatever it is. So what we did was we scouted around in the market and we found somebody who was renting out computers, desktop machines. So, okay, it was a rent, you could put it into expenditure. You did not own that machine, but responsibility also was not yours. Anything went wrong in the machine, it was the vendor's responsibility to replace it. Again, I think phenomenal service. He was replacing things. If something went wrong, literally about 2-3 hours. So we had managed that downtime as well. Now, everybody does not need Microsoft Office. Senior management may need who is interacting with the client, but somebody on the floor may not need it. So what we did was we installed OpenOffice or a variant of OpenOffice on desktop machines. For database, we were using MySQL. For applications, we were using PHP. So again, the development cycles were very, very small, and the expenditure of technology was very, very minimal. So what we did was took all of that finance that we had, and we built out a very good initial team. The first 30 people that we hired, most of them are still with us, and have grown significantly in terms of position and wealth, both. So this is my feeling that, for any startup, this is very, very important that you do not spend too much on technology, but yet have it in place which is scalable as well. And open source, trust me, is something people look down upon. There is no support or anything, but open source gives you the best available support. There are a lot of communities, a lot of people who are deploying it, who are working on it, a lot of forums that give you solutions. And at least in my 16 years of working with open source, I have never had a need to actually call up somebody and say how to do this and what to do with this. I think this is one space a lot of people do not venture out into, saying support is not there, or you don't know it is open source, it is a free software, nobody is responsible for it. Unless you are in financial services, you can live with open source. Financial services is a total game changer because there are so many compliance issues that you need to make somebody responsible for it. So financial services, if anybody of you want to get into, there is no saving money over there in technology. But the rest, anything else, whether it is call center, whether it is services, whether it is software development, whether it is products, everywhere you can save a huge amount of money on technology and yet have it in place. I'll give you a very classic example. One of our clients came up and said, we are having a huge call overflow. Can you handle some of the outbound calls? And again, as a company, it was our policy never to say no. Yes, we can handle it. So again, our vendor provided the server for it in literally 2 hours. We installed an open source called Astris. I sat down, I wrote down a code for call management and call center operations. In literally about 3 hours, I had the code ready. Next day, sat down and wrote a code. in fact, sorry, that same day, within 6 hours, we had a team ready, we had technology ready, we had people on the floor dialing out. We had 100% recordings for every conversation. We had most of the reporting in place. Next day, I sat down and wrote a few reports for managing the inbound and outbound calls. Now, these reports again, I created in about 4 hours. Agility was our biggest strength. Anything we did it with amazing. So, we had an entire call center solution in 48 hours running, and we ran it for the last 4 years without really restarting any service, except for once when we were shifting from one to the other. And that structure was so stable that it did not need any interference from anybody else. So this is how, if you really venture out into open source, if you start thinking on those lines, you can come across a lot of things which are very easy to implement, very easy to manage, and rock solid. Firewalls again, very cheap. We had built on FreeBSD, which had automatic failover, which had state tables shifting from one firewall to the other if one fails. So redundancy we've always built in our systems. And for any business to be successful, I think in today's world, agility is the key factor. For us, we were implementing a project from where we go ahead to implement, for people on the floor working that project, delivering quality in 6 weeks, which included hiring people, training people, building technology, writing software, writing reporting, and implementing it.
That's why you named Agile.
That is why we are called Agilists. It's actually 2 words, Agile Analyst.
Okay. That's great.
These 2 guys are there,
Mali.
No, Amit Bakshi.
Mali Bakshi.
I keep on thinking, I know him very well. Amit came in after me, set up here. What a great suit.
Yeah, we hired Amit from TechM.
Yeah.
So
He talked to me.
He took the office and the center manager.
No. This is what the joke is. He says, when they were to move on their own campus, this place was done up. I had hired this place to pay back the promises. I think if this is a ready place, this is an opportunity for you. Walk into it.
We have 2
See,
people who didn't introduce. One is at the back. Sir, please.
I am Dr. Harinder Tayal. I have a manufacturing unit and also an Institute of Clinical Research.
Where in Chennai?
And the gentleman on the left to Mr. Puri is from Aircel.
Yeah, I am Sanjeev and I am currently still working with Aircel and planning to open up my own unit. This is with respect to building industry, and this would be actually.
You are a telecom man.
Otherwise, I am a telecom man, but I am trying to venture out in a different field that I have no exposure of, and this is particularly into the wood finishes that we provide for the residential and commercial.
Wood?
Wood finishes.
Actually, it's totally a new sort of.
These are synthetic.
Yes.
Right, I'm building a house. First and second floor.
We've already closed down a couple of vendors for us. Both are from Italy.
Okay.
And since they have a background of around, I think, 6 generations now, both of them,
For the wood finishing.
for the wood finishing.
Yeah, that's a fantastic.
We are looking forward to.
That's a.
I'll share when we got this.
You maybe have, what I'm saying is the infrastructure group of Mahindra could be one of the very major clients.
Correct.
From that perspective, sitting here.
The major objective, I'm sorry.
No,
The major objective was that today in building industry, the wood that we use and the finish that we, ultimate finish that we get is not what we perceive.
Yeah.
So it is not like, it is like still buying a cloth and getting a shirt stitched out of it.
That's right.
Instead of buying a ready-made shirt which you can
That's
actually feel that
Not only
this
that,
is what the finished
wood
product
has a lot of problems, it is not treated properly,
It is
you know,
not
the problem of a termite, you know, and all those stuff.
So my endeavor is to bring maybe the best global quality
You know,
Indian shows at
There's a
Canadian
huge
price.
opportunity for affordable housing.
Yes.
So we would, my basic endeavor is to cut down the building
In fact-
time from 14 months to 8 months.
No, huge opportunity in affordable housing. And Mahindra, Nagpur, we've done a housing, which is of course, set the benchmark.
The most interesting thing that I've collected till now is that the startup finance needs to be taken really good care of. I think.
Finance is something which is, it's limited.
That's
As a
it.
startup, it's always limited. Whether it's your own money, whether somebody else is putting it in, or
See, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a very senior banker. What had happened in this region, a lot of lafafebazi. You see, let me put it this straight away. People who are property dealers, they become builders. How can they be builders? You know, they're cheaters. One of the P funds, he told him, he put in the money, they promised X amount of return, but P fund means he has to earn out of it and then move out somewhere. He lost heavily. And that has killed the whole real estate industry.
No P funds are coming.
No, one made a risk. I don't want to name the company. For the sake of it, he just wrote a thing and people have walked away. And believe me, you see, you live in a city, the weather has been part of it. Till late 90s, I even say 2000, something which was costing 40 to 50,000 square yard, no canal. Suddenly gone to 20 crore. There's nothing much has happened on the commercial terms in terms of in the city.
That's what
that shows
wondered about.
there's a mafia gang which is operating in this place here. There's nothing short of that.
But the
Not really, sir. Actually, people with money are coming to live in.
No, see,
we'll talk off camera.
It's a mafia gang.
There is another interesting story on this.
Yeah. So let me tell you this thing. People have money, they don't want to live in the in the rural Punjab, they want to come and live here. It's a developed and it's a very well controlled place and there's a limited space. So obviously, if you're looking for, there are 10 buyers and there are only 2 available, the prices will go up. Whosoever pays the highest, he'll get it. The rest of the people walk out.
Demand versus supply gap.
Yeah.
If you don't have finances, you can still start business. That's property. Actually, one thing more, I haven't met so far any entrepreneur who had bed of roses to start. He had to convert bed of thorns to bed of roses, but that required a lot of patience.
Yes.
Am I right?
It is.
No, I was reading the other day, it was this chap who set up this Swagat and, this South Indian, the Sagar. He ran from his home. Uneducated chap, used to clean utensils and then set up the chain of, this.
Dosa Plaza is the same example. This
Yeah.
guy came from Chennai to Mumbai.
There's so many
Work-
examples.
There's so many examples. This is,
So many examples. Right.
he ran away from his home.
Silicon Valley is full of them as well.
Yeah.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, the success rate of such people is very limited. And what we hear about, it's inspiring. But again, a lot of hard work for them has also gone into this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not to discourage anybody, but
But a lot of personal sacrifices as well.
yes, a lot. Statistics say 80% of startups will fail, and most of them fail because they are not handled properly.
That's right.
I mean, people will spend a lot on, and unfortunately, a lot of people spend a lot on technology.
So chances of failure is more bright than success.
It is. It is.
Now, see, another personal
Very
question.
wisely said that if you are not handling finances, it has to, it is bound to.
Having created Agilus and then working with the clerks, it takes you to another platform. Now, what is your next launching plan?
I'll be very honest, I'm a startup guy, I'm not a big company guy. I love working in startups, I love building that excitement of building is always there.
So you don't have any regrets for being an entrepreneur?
I mean, you are looking at the right startup and then take it forward.
Take it forward.
Yeah, I think
That is what my career has been, and that is what excites me personally as well.
yeah. No, that's right. This is how the economy and other thing you play in purpose.
And it's not only for me, the excitement of building that thing and taking people forward as well is also there. As for me, working in a big company, I don't see it in the far future as well. So it's always going to be
You have not been brought up as that way. You had an opportunity when you were finishing in Calcutta.
I had a lot of opportunities. I had opportunity with Google, I had opportunity with Oracle, I had opportunity with a few local players over there, but again, my thinking was totally towards building something up for my own, of my own.
No, you see, other day I was reading an article. What is happening in Japan? All these big corporations, they are aging. And the Japanese have a very restricted entry point in Japan. These people are leaving cushy jobs, starting a startup without money. Maybe somebody is borrowing it, somebody pays for this thing. The enterprising, the numbers are missing in Japan. They have a wealth. That's the reason now they have to compete with China. The other reason they're just looking at India. This Delhi Mumbai Industry Group was suggested by Japan way back 7 years back. But the way our bureaucracy, the railway people rejected it, but it is all bullshit. And now everyone is talking about it. That is going to be a game changer. That is the only good thing will happen. People who get connected to it will prosper. The rest of the people who stay out of it. That is the reason Mamta, they had a conference yesterday in Calcutta, yesterday or day, she announced it that she has nothing to offer in Bangkok. She has to admit it. So, you see, whether in terms of the industrial environment, see, so that is the big thing. People, they have destroyed the place over a period of, take it backward into 100, 150 years back. On the other hand, Bihar was in a much worse state, and it has bounced back because of the state of the You see, I tell you, my daughter is an architect. She was staying in Delhi. She was working with a leading architect. She finished architecture. She used to tell the girls from Bihar, from middle class families, they used to invest very heavily in education.
I'll be very honest, we had some of our best employees from Bihar and UP.
This is what I'm saying.
And I'm not joking, and it really somewhere hurt me that people from this region are not willing to work that hard.
Half of the bureaucracy comes from Bihar.
No, it's not a question of bureaucracy.
Otherwise,
all the manual, this today construction work has been taken over by agriculture. Is that right?
Correct. 100%.
These people are not going to do. Punjab will not do the agriculture. It will be run by from UP and this thing. They have abandoned everything and got into. I would say it's very unfortunate. I remember, Bein Singh, when he became Chief Minister, Vedsa, and I personally known him through this thing. He made a very valid statement. He said that Punjabi, the problem with Punjabi culture, ऐसे सब बाबूगिरी करना जानते थे, हाथ काले भी करके राजी थी। ये सब लोग सारी माड़ी गल है।
From that, what again, coming back to startups, what you just said, कि हाथ काले करने को जा रहे हैं. For an entrepreneur, it is very important that to get your hands dirty,
Do it yourself.
do it yourself,
Learn it yourself.
do it yourself, so that you can guide people and people cannot bullshit you.
Absolutely.
I mean,
If you have to have a control of the situation, you must do it hands on.
Today, if somebody says, so-and-so thing is going to take 16 days, I know it is not going to take 16 days. And I'm going to question why.
Because
If I don't know it, I'll say, okay, I accept it, 16 days is 16 days.
that is the unfortunate part of it.
Yes.
Actually, we also have at the back row students who will just barge into that conversation. We have Karan, Roshan, Mayuri and I don't know. Sorry? Harpreet. We are from the Rajasthan Tara East Cell. They are
Okay.
very active in the entrepreneurial department. Gulshen, is glad you came. You know, Gulshen has participated in the B-plan competition twice, all Asia has conducted, with Thai US connection. Major, the costliest business plan, but he failed in 2-3 attempts, presenting a plan to us. Yeah, and I have been sending him to mentors, and they have been kicking him out. So now the thing is, Gulshen, I don't know what the current status is, but he's a brilliant chap. Either he's not getting somebody who can understand his idea, or his idea is bogus. So Gulshen, can you just explain what your current status is? Have you succeeded or not? Pass it on to
I'll
Mahina.
definitely share that.
Actually, sir, I stick to the statement. I haven't succeeded yet. But the only thing I've learned over the past few years, I'm still a very young one in this whole scenario. I've attended many Thai events and all.
I'll be honest.
I've learned that you must never give up. That is actually something only thing that if I can say I've achieved so far, that I have not gave up at any point of time. And when you don't give up, you realize that you were actually wrong. I submitted the plans. Someone used to point out errors in it. I didn't like it actually. And then after 3 or 4 months, after that event or so, I realized that I was actually wrong and I should make implementations in it. So now, the only thing I don't get to know is how long the learning stage continues. Basically,
Learning will never end.
so that is
today as
a
well.
statement that
There
we
are new
usually
things.
hear, but you have to actually start implementing things that you learn also.
So here's a concept called lean startup. If you guys have heard about it. Lean startup. Lean startup says you don't have to spend too much in building the right product. Build the base, throw it in the market, but have the agility to work on it very, very quickly. Rather work on the feedback that you get very, very quickly and tune your product to what the market needs. There was some entrepreneur, and I won't name the company because that guy will never name the company. They spent almost about $30 million building up a product, which they thought was the product in the market, which is going to change the face of XYZ industry. They spent almost about 3 years perfecting the product before they released it in the market. And with a very great pomp and show, they did release it in the market without a single taker. Nobody bought that product. Nobody wanted that product. So they spent $30 million of investor money, all gone down the drain because what they thought would work in the market did not work in the market. Same set of people, and I'll name the company now, brought in InView. InView was a virtual reality game of sorts. But what they did differently this time was they built up the base game. And within about 4 or 5 months, they introduced that game in the market as a paid service. Okay. So they were charging money for a buggy, crappy product. And instantly they were early adopters who were giving them daily feedback. And at times these people were releasing updates on an hourly basis.
Oh,
That quickly.
that was it.
Okay. And ultimately this company went on to be sold for almost about $1 billion. So the success here was they did not spend too much money building the perfect product and putting it in the market, but giving out a product which kind of worked and started building on the feedback what they got from the market
And developing further.
and developing
Then
further.
correctly from from where he started was, it is better to have a perfect team instead of having a perfect product.
You should have a perfect team who understands it.
That's it.
That is the core strength.
What is the ultimate goal?
Ultimate goal, what your business plan is, and again the product does not have to be perfect because it never will be, and you should always have scope for updates. That is what will keep your audience engaged. What is coming next? Perfect case in example, Apple, Windows,